All right, people, what's up? It's your boy Chig from Gooner Eagle Eye coming to you again with a preview video of the Man City game. And there's no way of kind of explaining myself with this one. For us, this is an absolute must-win game. We must win this. We literally have no excuses now. We're getting to the point now where this is the time of the year that we generally tend to lose touch with the team that goes on to win the title. And if you look at the Premier League table, kind of looks like same old, same old. You know, Chelsea are 6 points clear above anyone, and they look pretty fantastic at the moment. For me, I made a very bold prediction on the aftermath of that game against Everton. I said that I believe that we'd go on and we'd beat City because that's the type of dumb shit we do. And I still think we will do that. Out of the two games, I realized that they were both important. I always said that. But I felt like this was the game that we could do something. I always felt like this was the game I was really confident about going into it. I feel like if we focus, there's no reason we can't beat this team. Let me say that again. There is no reason that we cannot beat this team. In my mind, if we focused it how we should, reason, and I keep saying it because I wanted that to be clear, there is absolutely no reason why we cannot beat this Man City team. The big question is, can we beat this Man City team? Because this Arsenal, Tuesday night's Arsenal, will get smoked by City. I don't care if they don't have Aguero. You know, we will get smoked by City. You know, people are acting like, oh, because Aguero is not there, that means we're good. Do you not seem to remember how we tend to do against these weak and big teams? We always tend to get beaten by them. We were supposed to go and beat Everton. What happened there? We were supposed to go and beat Man U. Twice now. Twice this year. This year, not about this season, this year, we were supposed to be a weakened United side. We got beaten by a bunch of kids earlier this year. And then, a few weeks ago, let's be honest, we were lucky to get a draw. So, let's not, I don't want people to start all this, oh yeah, but don't worry, you know, City don't have this player, they don't have that players. Like, all of a sudden, City are an average team without Aguero. Come on. Come on. You guys know better. I'm sure you know better. It's just, you do get some idiots that reason this way, like this is going to be a simple game. I made a declaration that was bold, but by no means does that mean that I'm naive to the task that's ahead of us. This will be a difficult game. This will be a game where tactically we need to be on point. The good thing and the thing that plays to our hands is that, much like Wenger, Pep only knows one way to play. So because he only knows one way to play, theoretically, and I know what I'm saying, I know it sounds ludicrous considering how many trophies Pep has won, but because Pep generally knows how one way to play, theoretically, that means you should be able to set your team up. You know what you're getting going ahead of it. You know, there's not going to be any surprises. And generally, not all the time, but generally, we play well against teams that like to play football. You know, with Pep's team, you're not going to have a high-pressing energy team, which plays to our favour. You know, they play very similar football to us. They probably play a little bit too much football at times, with personnel that, quite frankly, are not good enough to play Pep's type of football. So because of that, we can set up against a team like that properly, you know? So you know what you're getting against it. But let's have it right. They still have very good players. Yes, I understand that they don't have Aguero, who is their best striker. Yes, I understand they don't have Fernandinho, who outside of Aguero has been one of their best and most consistent players. Fine. You're still talking about a team that contains people like albeit older, Yaya Toure. You're still talking about a team that has a Kevin De Bruyne, a player I rate personally very, very highly. Very, very highly. Now, this team is not a bunch of chumps. So this will be a difficult game, and a game that we need to make sure that we are clicking on all cylinders here. And quite frankly, we need Ozil and Sanchez to bring their A game in this game. For me, this is an absolute must-win. For some reason, I believe we'll win this game. I believe it'll be a tight game. And this would be my hopeful 1-11 to help us achieve that goal. I've heard people have some disagreements. People believe that we should change the whole team. I literally just watched Robbie's preview of this video, and he believes we should keep the same team. Highly disagree with both points of view. I believe that we should make some key changes to key areas that's going to help us achieve the goal we want. Man City struggle, like we do, to high-pressing teams. We have a striker that is very suited to playing high-pressure football. We played our best football this season against Chelsea when we were high-pressuring them. Therefore, we must go into this game, guess what I'm going to say? High-pressuring these guys. I've seen people like a John Stones, like a Otamendi, to panic and panic and panic. And if they dare play a fullback in central defense like a Korolov, force these guys to panic in playing their football. Because I'll tell you what, if they get it out of their defense, we are going to be in trouble. so this would be my 1-11 to combat that personally. I'd play Czech in goal. He hasn't kept a clean sheet lately, but I believe in this game he will keep a clean sheet. And I think that something tells you you're going to see the best game yet from Czech, and we're going to need it from him, to be honest. I'd give Bellerin another chance at right back. Quite frankly, he's our only option at right back, our only realistic option at right back. And I believe he'll do well in this game also. The other things that will surprise you, alongside Koscielny, who of course I would play, would be Gabriel. As much as I highly rate Holding, this is not the type of game you start a Holding in. This is the type of game that would destroy a youngster's confidence. I don't believe you take that risk by putting a Rob Holding in. And as harsh and as rightly harshly as I thought I was against Gabriel, I still feel justified in that harshness. Still start him in this game. Here's where I'd start making changes. Until he's asked to sit down. I played Gibbs. I feel like he's been playing better than Monreal recently. I think he's quicker against a Man City that are pretty quick. When you're talking about people like Iheanacho, which allow me some national pride for 1 minute. Sorry. When you're talking about people like Iheanacho, when you're talking about people like Sterling, when you're talking about people like De Bruyne, we're going to need people who are pacey. And I'm sorry, I don't know what is going on with Monreal right now. He's struggling against pace. Don't give him an opportunity to mess up to a team like City. So I would play, I would play Gibbs here, and I wouldn't even think about it. I think you've got to go with Coquelin and Koscielny. Coquelin and in the middle. What I really don't want us to see us do is, because we do like to do this sometimes, is play Coquelin and El Nene there. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. I would play Coquelin for sure. I think he's been one of our most consistent players recently, and is threatening, quite frankly, Monreal's Mr. Consistency tag. He really is. I think Xhaka will have the defensive mindset to be able to do the job he needs to do, defensive mindset to move up when he can. Apparently, Ramsey's not expected to be on the bench this week anyway, but even if he was, I'd still tell him to sit down. And this is not the type of match that Ramsey plays, in my opinion. Again, here's where I start making changes. For me, I play Perez on the right. I think he looks hungry to prove himself. I believe Theo, as great a start to the season as he's had, I'd say the last couple of games has been a bit quiet. Probably since West Ham onwards, I felt he's been a bit quiet. And I think that, again, illustrated itself against Everton on Tuesday. And I think it wouldn't do him any harm to sit down for a couple of, literally just for a couple of games or so. And the good thing about bringing someone like a Theo on is that in case we do need a goal when things are a bit tight, you bring someone with Theo's pace on against a tiring City defence. And let's be real here. People seem to talk about Giroud being an impact sub. I'll tell you someone who's also pretty good off the bench is Theo. He just is. Because the last thing, I'm a central defender by trade, right? When I was at school and I was in the school football teams, it was always being a centre-back. I will tell you right now, the last thing my big ass wanted to do when I was playing centre defence is see someone with lightning pace come on when you've just been playing an hour worth of football. That's the last thing you want to see. So for me, it's a no-brainer that Perez, who is a goal threat, who played so well when he did play on the right in the Champions League, start him in this game. Let's see what he can do. The thing is, he's an unknown element. He's an element that City won't know about. And that's what I quite like about having him out there. He's hardworking. And I think potentially could form a really good partnership with a Spanish-speaking Bellerin. I'm just saying. So that's why I would personally start Perez. I think he'll start Theo, but I'd personally start Perez on that right-hand side. And I think sometimes that's where we do suffer with Sanchez sometimes being up front, because when he inevitably goes deep to try and collect the ball because no one's giving it to him, you don't have anyone up front there. And that's the one thing Perez showed brilliantly against Basel, was every time Sanchez did that, you just watch Perez movement. And that's what I want to see. And I don't particularly think, as good as Theo's played this season, and as more football intelligence as Theo has shown this season, I still don't think he has the consistent football brain or consistent football intelligence to constantly make those movements, off-the-ball movements. Whereas I think Perez's off-the-ball movements is phenomenal. He gets a lot of his goals. So I think, personally, I think Perez would be a genius move. And I'll tell you what, I'll be over the moon, personally, if he starts. Because I think that would be a really good move for us to make. You guys know I'm a big advocate of Ox. I tell him to sit down for this match. Big risk, because I thought Ox was actually not too bad in the beginning spell of the Everton game. But I also felt like he faded. And I personally played Iwobi on the left. Again, just something to just freshen up the team a little bit. He has been playing much better as he's come on in games. Some people might say, well, maybe he's more of an impact player, but I'm not so sure he's an impact player. I think eventually he'll be a starter. I think, to be honest, and the bit of irony is, I actually think he's probably a number 10. But I think, unfortunately, he's moulding his game on Ozil, which is why you're not seeing a lot of tracking back. And I do think potentially, and that's a lot of the reason why I'd start Gibbs. Because at least with Gibbs, although defensively Gibbs is not fantastic, what Gibbs is good at that Monreal isn't, is that if Gibbs fucks up in defense, he generally is one of the best recovery tacklers, probably alongside Koscielny in our team. Mushtari good at recovery tackles. So I think if you start Gibbs on as left back, you can afford to start someone like a Wobie, who I accept defensively sometimes. I think it just allows you to be able to do that a little bit easier. So that's why I start a Wobie out left. I start Ozil as a number 10. Performance from him. We do need a big performance from him. You know, you want this £250, 250 grand a week contract. Go out there and show why. Go out there and show them why you deserve that contract, for fuck's sake. So we need a big performance from him. So we start Ozil as a number 10, and then you've got to start Alexi up front. You've got to start him up front. I said it yesterday in the Gooner Eagle Eye episode 20. Go check it out if you've not heard it. I thought that we needed that Alexi deserves whatever contract he's given, and I just have a sneaky suspicion he's about to show you guys again why. I think this will be a tight game. I think both teams will be afraid to lose, but I also think that I also think that Pep won't be able to hold his team back for very long. And I think because of that, I think we'll counter-attack well. I think we'll score. I think it'll be a tight 1-0 victory. Please God. I think it'll be a tight 1-0 victory. And yeah, I expect it to be a good performance because Lord knows after Tuesday, we deserve one. So yeah, 1-0. I think Arsenal will win. I do. I don't know why. I just do. Anyway, you guys let me know what your hopeful 1-11 is. I call it hopeful because we know the team we would pick. Wenger rarely agrees with us. So let's go ahead and see what he does. I've got a feeling he'll stick with his damn same 11. That's the weird thing. But you let me know what you think. Who would your hopeful 1-11 be? All right, people. I'm out of here. Peace.